Welcome into another edition of Sport Ball with Squam, Stoagie, and Skulldog. I'm your boy Sam. With me, as always, are my two good friends, Seth and Kyle, if that even is your real names.
Why are you whispering?
Well, why are you?
So you are a spy. I knew it. Seth's laugh was twice the amount of volume than my voice.
And he's sitting the farthest from the microphone.
What else is new?
Actually, there's unrest in China. Hong Kong is protesting.
Indeed.
Kyle, anything to say, or you?
But no, I'm uninformed.
That wasn't on the outline you gave us to talk about China, so we haven't done our research.
Yeah, we're all uninformed.
Yeah, much like Daryl Morey. Okay, so now we'd like to welcome in a special guest, Cooper Tonishell. He is our, you might say, baseball. Exactly. You might say he's our special guest. You might say he's somewhat of a baseball savant. Cooper, welcome. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So we figured we wanted to discuss the World Series because that is coming up. Is the first game tomorrow?
Yeah.
So we're recording this on a Monday, and the first game of the series is tomorrow. And since me and Seth have little to offer in the baseball venue, but since baseball is technically a ball played with a sport
ball,
we figured we might as well cover it. So we had Cooper on to help us out, and Kyle will be able to discuss, I think, looking by he looks raring to go. So let's start off with you, Cooper. We got Astros, we got Nationals. Let's start with who you think is going to win this and how many games.
Well, I think Astros are probably going to win in about 5 games. I think it'll be a pretty clean sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Nationals might be able to squeak one out. I do want the Nationals to win, though. They've never won a World Series before. They've never even been to one before.
Now, did they win as the Expos?
No.
Were they the Expos?
No. But yes, yeah. It's the same franchise, but they never won. They never went, and they never won. But yeah, no. The pitching is going to control the entire series. We got 4 of the best aces matching up in the first 2 or 3 games, so it's going to be whoever can hit the ball first.
Now, I haven't watched millisecond. Is that a word?
No.
Millisecond is though.
I meant just like a second where it's like a little short.
It's like 0.9 seconds.
I haven't watched any, but I hear Garrett Cole is unstoppable. Kyle, have you seen that?
Have I seen that?
What kind of question is that?
It's on my fantasy team. Garrett Cole. I rode Garrett Cole to second in our fantasy baseball league.
Wow.
Yeah. Garrett Cole has just been the most dominant pitcher that I've probably ever seen. I don't understand, like, if he's pitching, it's almost guaranteed 12 strikeouts. And there's almost no strain on the bullpen ever. So it's like you got him going up tomorrow against is it Scherzer?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then I would assume he goes 7-8 innings like he always does. And then the next matchup, you have Steven Strasburg, who in the playoffs has some of the best numbers. Like those are his best career numbers or playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against Verlander, who in his own
the
right,
ageless wonder, you might say.
Like those 4 or those 3 pitchers are probably 3 of the top Cy Young, candidates. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I wanted to mention this because I heard some talk on the radio about this, how often in the playoffs, right, you give your starters a couple innings and then it's kind of a bullpen by committee. So Cooper, maybe you can talk to if you think that's going to happen in the series, or they're going to really ride.
That's absolutely not going to happen. Well, at least not for the first couple games. These guys that they have throwing aren't just like some of the best arms; they're also veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to give them a couple run cushion. You say 3rd, 4th inning, you give up a runner or 2, they're still going to keep them in. Granted, you get someone to give up like 5 runs in the first couple innings, then they'll definitely be yanked early on.
Sure.
And but that's just playoffs in general. But yeah, no, these guys give up a runner or 2. They give up a mistake home run in like the 4th or 5th inning. They're each pitching 6 innings, 7 innings, unless something drastically goes wrong.
Mm-hmm. Now, Cooper, I haven't looked at the MVP odds yet, but do you think a pitcher is going to win MVP in this series with all those aces?
If they get 2 starts and go 7 scoreless innings in 2 starts, I think that's what it would take. Because otherwise, it's going to be whoever. It's always the flashy number, so it's always the guy that gets an RBI to win a game at some point, or gets several game-winning RBIs throughout the series. And with the pitching, as hard as it's going to be on both sides, it'll be someone like if the Astros win, it'll be someone like Altuve. Like he just won the MVP for the ALCS. It'll be someone just like him or Bregman that hits a home run to win a game or gets an RBI to win a game. For the Nationals, maybe someone like Soto.
It's Soto and Rendon, I think. It's got to be one of those two.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. Except, Howie Kendrick has been killing it in the playoffs. I don't understand how or why, but
he found the fountain of youth.
Well, the thing was he had Italians on my fantasy team, so he probably just carried that through to the playoffs. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I could definitely see if somehow, right now it looks like the Nationals are like a team of destiny based on just the way things have gone, and then sweeping the Cardinals, having such a long rest period before facing the best team in the American League, regardless of record. In my opinion, Houston's just been so dominant, and then if they do pull it off, I could definitely see someone, like Howie Kendrick, or say Zimmerman hits a, game-winning home run in one of these games just to keep the series going.
Yeah.
I could see them rewarding one of the veterans with it, but otherwise I think it has to be like Soto or Rendon. They're just such a force at the plate. It's ridiculous.
I feel like in baseball more than, this might not be true, I haven't even looked it up or anything, but I feel like in baseball more than, say, basketball, it's often an MVP that you don't expect going into the series just because it takes a few good hits, Whereas,
it's all about timing.
Yeah, what's the most surprising? Well, we know what the most surprising NBA Finals MVP is, but let's not even discuss his name here. Cooper, I have a question for you about the Nationals. So Bryce Harper leaves his team.
I was hoping you'd go here.
And somehow they got better. Now, he seems overrated to me. Okay, what has he done? He hasn't done anything in the playoffs. He leaves and the team gets better, and his team doesn't make the playoffs. I have some questions here.
Well, first off, how dare you? That's a clown question, bro. But no, he might be a bit overrated, but he's still gonna be worth his money. It all comes down to what a player's really worth. What did he end up with? Like a 3.4 or 4.4 WAR? I can't remember. But he'll average about 4 WAR every year at least, so he'll have some seasons better than others. And MLB $8 million per WAR is about how much the franchise makes. So no matter how you look at it, he's making money for his team. It's a good deal for the Phillies, and they'll be there next year or the year after. They're right on the verge of breaking through. So. But it's like he said in that press conference, he's bringing the title back to DC.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I just ask that he wins some playoff series? That's all I want.
He's a big name with a lot of pop in his bat. I don't think he's the best, defensively.
Right.
That's really what the Phillies were paying for. Was the power and the runs that he can produce. When he's hot, but when he's not hot, he's just he's an average hitter. So.
Yeah, but the second, I would say even half of the season, he really turned it up. Like his first half was pretty garbage, but his second half was just on fire. And he still had over 100 RBIs, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah. It's easy to, clown the guys that get paid in the offseason and don't make it to the, to the playoff or the World Series or anything. It's just bound to happen. And that's the whole thing with baseball. It's an individual. It's not a team sport, really. It's an individual sport played as a team.
It's harder to blame. It's harder to blame a superstar, in baseball for a series loss than it is in basketball, say, where they have so much control over what happens, especially a hitter, right? Maybe you can blame a pitcher more, but maybe this might be a stupid thing.
Pitchers always get blamed too. Like
Clayton.
Think about it. Think about what was it a couple nights ago when Altuve hit that walk-off shot against Chapman.
Yeah.
People are looking at Chapman like, oh, how do you give up a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning when your team finally tied it back up, force it to Game 7? But
that was just rough. He was he got those first 2 outs. He was mowing people down with that 100-mile basically unhittable fastball. Then he walked Springer, and then he couldn't throw a strike with the fastball to Altuve, and just went back to that high 80s slider, got a strike, and then went right back to it and just lets it hang in.
Yep.
Like, you're not relying on your best pitch. You're not confident in it. It bit him in the ass.
This is why I never leave it hanging. All right. Any thoughts, you two?
Yeah, go Nats. I really don't want to see the Astros win again.
I think we can all agree with that. I feel like.
I still have an internal hatred for them, even though like we swept them in 2005. I still just they're always going to be the bad guys on the other side of that World Series. So
that's true. He's a bitter White Sox fan. I forgot about that aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
Well, for me, it feels like the Astros are like
they're the smartest team in baseball.
Yeah, but the Nationals are those plucky kids. They don't have Bryce Harper anymore, and they're just like.
You can't really say plucky though when they have two of the best aces in their starting rotation and
they're
one of the best youngest players in the. Well, yeah, Scherzer's a little insane, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, that's true. I just feels like I want the underdog.
I guess I would add one more thing. I don't know if you saw, but Joe Madden got picked up by the Angels. A hot prediction. He's going to take the Angels to second round of the playoffs next year.
Wow.
I like that.
Well,
they need someone to shake, they need a savvy manager that could shake up that team. Hopefully they could make a couple acquisitions to, someone that could pitch on that team. That's all they need, really.
It would be nice to see Trout get some playoff success.
And Ohtani will be healthy to start throwing again next year too.
Yeah, they need that.
My God, I got so excited. I drafted him in fantasy that year when he was coming in, and we were like, this is like Babe Ruth. Yeah. And he was for a while.
Gabe Ruth?
He had Gabe Ruth. All right, I think that about wraps it up for the Baseball World Series preview. Cooper, thanks for having
us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank us for having us.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Anytime.
All right, take care, buddy.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we want to do. This is an NBA preview.
Preview?
Excuse me, I'm having a stroke. So
I think this is the best start to a podcast we've had yet.
Agreed. So basically what's going to happen here, since the NBA kicks off tomorrow, Tuesday, we're recording this on a Monday, October 21st, what we want to do is we want to go over 5 teams that we each find interesting or that we would like to discuss for some reason. And then we're going to go over who we think are going to make the playoffs. We're going to go over MVP, and we're going to go over who we think is going to win it all in the end.
This is your all-encompassing NBA podcast.
This is the NBA Previewpalooza.
Big summer blowout.
2019. Come one, come all.
Extravaganza.
So, I'm really excited for this season, guys. How about you?
I'm ecstatic. I can't wait. Bulls are making the playoffs. Not to jump the gun, but
oh my God! Spoilers.
I haven't been this excited for NBA season since the start of last season. I tell you.
Nice one.
Thanks.
I actually am more excited for this season than last season. I think.
So much has changed.
A lot of new faces and new places, and there is not a really clear-cut, favorite to win the title for the first time since LeBron went to the Heat. We can all talk about our favorites, but as far as the odds makers go, they haven't really picked out one that's as big a favorite as the Warriors or the Heat were, right? I knew Kyle would contradict me on that, but I pushed through, and you know what? I'm pretty proud of that.
Persevere, baby.
Who do you think the favorite was in 2015, before the season?
Clippers, maybe? Certainly not.
2015?
Yeah.
Spurs, probably.
So there wasn't a clear favorite, you might say.
I'll look it up. Hold on.
Wait, when was
filibuster for me?
2015 when he went to Cleveland?
LeBron's first year back in Cleveland.
So was it Cleveland then, you think?
Was that 2014, 2015?
Yeah.
Hold on, I have it. Give me a second. Keep filibustering, please.
Because the Spurs had just won the championship the year before.
Correct.
And Kawhi was looking like the next best great player. The Warriors were good, but not definitely not favorites yet. No one knew how the Cleveland experiment would work. So, I mean, I feel like there wasn't, there were, like every year, like this year, there were a few teams in the top tier who you might expect to make it there. But I feel like that year there wasn't like a overwhelming favorite where, like the last few years where it's like, what's even the point of playing the regular season because we already know who's going to win.
For sure, yeah.
The Cavs were the favorite that year, 5-2, and the Spurs were 7-2. The Bulls were the third favorites.
Really?
Yeah, the third best odds.
That hurts me. All right, well, you guys want to start with your 5 teams?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you like me to start? Because I know
we haven't
neither of you picked your 5 teams in
Not
preparation. Yet. Okay, so let's just start with the Warriors. Because I
was
think
going to pick that team. God.
That's okay. We can have some overlap, actually. So I think that the Warriors are one of the most maybe controversial teams going into the season. I don't know what their over-under is. Maybe, Seth, you can look that up for me or Kyle. But I know that I've heard every prediction from them making a run at the championship again to them missing the playoffs. And I think there's a wide range of outcomes for this team. Personally, I think that they are going to be really good. I think that they're a lock to make the playoffs.
Lock?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, if Steph is as good as we think he is, which I would say he's a top 3 player. I would say he's definitely a top 5 player. And top 5 players usually make the playoffs if they have even a decent supporting cast, and he is at least Draymond.
But they lost so much. They lost so much on the defensive side of the ball that it's going to be hard to overcome in such a. The West is absolutely loaded. It's going to be really hard to overcome a lot of those teams without defense.
So that's one of the biggest problems, right? Their wing defense.
Yeah. In all seriousness, like this was one of the teams that I wanted to bring up as well.
Uh-huh.
And I'm with Sam. I feel like they're underrated this year, which is kind of weird considering they've been, so highly regarded the last several years. But I think they still have, a top 5 player and 2 more top 25, 30 players. D'Angelo could very well get better this year. He's still a young player who, kind of had a breakout year last year. He could step it up a notch. And then just the style of play, I think they'll have a lot of open shots. They're not going to be relying on Alfonso McKinney to do anything besides hit threes and play defense. And yeah, they're not going to have a lot of depth, but I still think just the system they have there, especially offensively, will prevail. And they're not going to be they're probably not going to be a top 4 seed in the regular season, but if Klay comes back for the playoffs, I think they could make a run deep into the Western Conference playoffs and potentially back into the championship.
Klay is the big wild card, maybe not for regular season performance, but for their playoff ceiling because, I've heard everything from that he's going to come back right out after the All-Star break to he's just not going to play this year at all. And, they probably don't even know yet, right? I mean, Kristaps tore his ACL a year and a half ago, and he's just now playing, and there's no guarantee Klay's going to come back, 10 months later or whatever it might be. That would be a really quick turnaround. I mean, we've seen that from, Adrian Peterson. That's the most notable one I can think of. Yeah, it has. It for sure has, but it's just not a guarantee,
No, it's not. So you said they're locked to make the playoffs, but, what seed do you think they end in then?
I would say 5 or 6.
Or
you
7.
think so?
It's definitely not going to be a top 4.
I think they're a bottom. If they make it, they're a bottom 3. Bottom 3
so
team.
6 is one of the bottom 3.
Did you say 6?
They definitely couldn't be 5, though.
No.
Absolutely not.
Well, I think there's 6 teams that are a lock.
Agreed.
And then there's 4 teams that you could argue to take the last 2 spots.
Here,
and I don't know if Golden State isn't one of those locks for me based on the loss of... I mean, we know how good Steph is offensively, but they also lost a lot of production offensively, and they didn't replace what they lost on defense. It's a big swing to have to... they're going to be exciting games. I don't think the Warriors score less than 110 points a night. But at the same time, they're going to give up a lot of points.
Agreed. I think they can outscore a lot of people. I think if Draymond is in shape... Actually, the funny thing is to win games, you have to outscore the other team.
Oh.
If Draymond comes in shape and is this the kind of beast on the defensive end. I think he can carry them to at least a mediocre defense. I think that I feel like Steph is, I don't know, like Steph is like already a top 25 player. He's like closer to LeBron than he is to the rest of the league. I feel like him and Kevin Durant and LeBron are just way up there for me. And LeBron has taken worse teams to the playoffs. I feel like. I mean, I'm in the East, granted, but
LeBron also plays much better defense than Steph.
Well, for some seasons, I think that also LeBron never had a coach or an infrastructure as good as this, so he has that going for him. I don't know. I just believe
Spo might be as good as.
That's true. That's true. But that team was elite as well. I'm talking like maybe the Cavs teams that weren't as good back in the day. I just feel like
yeah, but he's also playing the Eastern Conference.
I know. I mentioned that. You're right. That's a factor too. But I just feel like I believe in Steph, and so I believe in the Warriors. That just comes down to that, I guess. But we'll see. I mean, it's controversial for a reason. I mean, your defensive worries are definitely valid. So. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We will.
Does anyone else want
to... I do think Steph has some.
Should we just make a bet? We might as well make a bet on this, right?
Chance to win MVP, though. I think MVP is going to be him or Anthony Davis this year.
Yeah, I think there's really 4 real candidates for MVP, but we'll get into that in the later
section. That's true. I forgot that was part of this.
That's okay. You didn't
read
the outline.
We should make a bet.
Yeah, we should make a bet. Is it a 3-way bet?
Yeah.
So
you two betting me?
So $20, you pay each of us 10 if you lose. We pay you 20 together if we win.
So each pay me 10.
In a second.
So we're basically making 2 separate bets, $10 each.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. What did you
We've done it before.
Warriors are top.
No, just make the playoffs, right?
No, I think.
He thinks they'll make the playoffs.
I think they're one of the 4 bottom, like the teams that round out the 6 or the 7-8 spot.
How about Warriors are top 6?
I don't know if I even want to bet that. They probably will. They might be. Okay, fine.
6
you know what? I'm taking a stance. Damn it! If they're 6, it's a push. How about that?
So then
we get 5 and
we
up.
should win if it's a 6.
Oh no!
If it's 7, it's a push.
So 5.5 seed.
No.
No, you get 7 and 8. We'll take the rest. How about that?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You get 7 and 8. If they are 7 and 8, this is thrilling podcasting, by the way. If they get the 7th or the 8th seed,
you win the.
No, I want the 6th.
You can't have the 6th. I said they were going to be a 5th or 6th seed.
And I only heard 5th.
Fine, 6th is a push then.
Okay, so it's at 6. So they have to be 5 or better for you guys to win.
Yeah,
they have to be 7 or 8 for me to win.
Agreed.
6, nothing happens.
Great.
Yeah, I love it. It's in.
I can't wait till they're a 6th seed.
Man, what's the Redskins' record?
1 in however many games they played.
I forgot we bet on that too. I just saw it.
You bet on that this year?
Yeah, Sam took the Redskins over 5.5 wins.
Oh,
when was that?
At the time, it seemed there was hope in DC, but I just got the sport wrong. It was actually the Nationals.
I would be shocked if they win more than 2.
You'd be shocked if you win more than 2. Seth, why don't you name a team since I took yours?
Any team? Does it have to be a basketball team? Or
keep in mind, if you name them, you have to discuss them, though.
All right, the Spraying Mantises.
Oh, my work league team, who got a quick 20-piece nugget today, or was it 30? Doesn't know.
Yeah, we lost. Well, might as well start with the Boston Celtics. Just get it nice and out of the way, huh?
Good call. We knew he'd do it.
As in typical form, Kyle was lambasting Danny Ainge today for signing Jaylen Brown 4-year, $115 million contract.
Oh, I missed that. When did that happen?
Today.
Oh, wow.
I think it'll be fine. I think we'll keep him happy for the year, and then he knows that he's valuable. And I still think he has room to improve. I think last year he was definitely a bit disappointing, but I'm not too worried about Jaylen long term. I am just glad to have the scourge of Kyrie Irving off the team. Kemba, by all accounts, will be great for us. I'm devastated that Al is on the Sixers now. Will I get over it? No. But life goes on. Not for me. It's a Dwight Schrute quote right there. So I don't think we're not in the top 2 teams in the East, but I think it's going to be a much more enjoyable season. And I'm excited to see if Gordon is able to make significant strides back to his former glory this year, and if that will help make up for the gaping hole that has been left by Al Horford leaving the team.
It's not the only gaping hole.
What's the other one?
I couldn't say.
Okay.
Not that this might not matter in the East, but your big man rotation worries me.
It matters everywhere.
That's gonna be there's gonna be a trade to be made for you guys, whether it's like Marcus or someone, one of your maybe fringe rotation players for another big.
Marcus Smart, you mean?
Yeah.
We're not trading Marcus Smart for anybody. Wouldn't trade him for the moon.
There's a lot of talk of Jaylen Brown for
Sabonis.
I don't know if that'll
Sabonis
happen
is
now that
signed again.
Okay,
signed today too.
So maybe if they both signed, that still might be in the cards. I don't know.
I guess that's true.
But I was playing with y'all in 2K the other day, and I gotta say it was alarming that I had to give so many minutes to Robert Williams and Grant. Also Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Grant's a rookie, and who
Robert
knows what he is.
A rookie.
Robert is a second-year player, but it didn't do much.
Oh, he's on a rookie contract. That's what I'm looking at. Sorry.
So that would be my main concern if I were you. Also, you have Enos the Penis, Enos Cantor,
and he won't stop talking about on social media his parents being locked up in Turkey or wherever the hell they are, and that he was almost killed and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, I would probably
keep the politics out of this shit.
Why would you
probably
not
talk about it too if my parents were locked up in prison somewhere?
You just hate Enos. That's your problem.
I do. I do. I hate the entire Celtics franchise.
I like the Celtics. I don't like when they beat us, but I like their team right now. I think it's kind of exciting.
I think we'll be fine. I think Enos will bring offense down low. He's got some post moves. He's got some good rebounding ability. I think we'll throw Robert Williams in there when he starts getting torched on the defensive end. And yeah, maybe we can make a trade late in the season to boost up that side of the court a little bit. Yeah, like I said, I'm not predicting them to make the finals, but I think we'll be as good, if not better, as last year.
I agree. Kyle, you want to move on to another team, or do you have any more jabs
I don't think
take at Danny and the entire Boston Celtics?
I don't think that... I mean, it's rough. I want to say I don't think that you're going to be better than last year.
The East is just so bad.
The East is so bad. But
I mean, they were
you also lost
year.
so much production and defense with... Al was just such a glue guy for a team, especially a team so young.
But all they have to do to be as good as last year is get the 4 seed in the East. You don't think they're going to get the 4 seed?
No.
Do I smell another bet coming? 4 seed is a push.
See, that's the thing. Like the East, they definitely can get it, but I don't think
Will
they do.
Should they?
They don't deserve to. Well, we'll discuss that more in the
1 and 2
playoff
seeds in the East are like a lock.
For sure.
3, I think, is probably a lock. Not as much of a lock.
We'll discuss,
like this lock could be picked.
We'll discuss that when we discuss our playoff seeds, probably, unless you want to spoil it.
No, certainly not.
Well, maybe you could talk about your next team then.
Okay.
You got to discuss.
Certainly.
Did anyone look over the over/under for the Warriors, by the way?
Yeah, it's 49.
Thank you.
49.
I'll take the over.
The over? You think that they go...
Well, if I want them to get the 5 seed or better, they probably have to.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Thank you.
So, team that I would like to talk about is none other than my hometown, our hometown, Chicago Los Bulls. We're a young team. I like that. Defensively, we're probably not going to be the best, but like we've been talking about, the East is so bad that there is definitely a path for them to be the 6th, 7th, or 8th seed. And for us to not having made the playoffs in, God, what has it been now? How many years? Like 3?
Decades.
It hasn't been decades, but it's been a while. I like to see some playoff basketball.
Sure.
I think Zach LaVine showed last year that he can kind of shoulder the load. Offensively, he's awesome, and with the lack of defense that the Bulls are going to be playing, I could see him honestly competing for being a top 5 player in the scoring title this year.
Sure.
I can see him dropping 28, 29 a night. And And if something happens to like James Harden and he misses, knock on wood, a couple months of the season.
This isn't real wood, by the way.
Shit. I like that, but also, I love Lauri Markkanen. His ceiling is, his ceiling's the roof, as they say. He's just such a clean cut guy. Really.
He did shave his head recently, so.
Yeah, but I mean, he reminds me of.
He did actually.
He reminds me of like a young Dirk.
Yeah, just not as good, but that's okay.
He's better than Jason Tatum, though.
I'm excited to see what Jason does this year because he was doing well in the World Championships, kind of playing some small ball center. So I'm pretty excited to see that. But certainly, Lauri has put up just as much production as he did last year, I would say.
Yeah, and I think that Lauri grows again too, and I love we added Tomas Satoransky. He was definitely underrated last year.
Professional basketball player.
He's a good point guard, especially like I could see him even later on in the season coming off the bench and kind of running the second unit while Kobe White comes in and starts once he kind of proves, that he's capable of that. He looked great himself in the summer, in the preseason and in the summer league. So
his hair looks great.
I don't know. I just think that the Bulls definitely have a path to a playoff, berth this year.
Listen, anyone has a path to a playoff berth in the East, so I agree.
Not
with you
anyone.
There. I mean, anyone with a pulse. And I agree with you there. I think we can snag one of the last few seeds because really there's only a few teams vying for that, and none of them have that high of a ceiling. So I'm excited to see Wendell and Lauri play more together in the front court this season. They didn't get to do that a lot with injuries last year. I'm excited to not have Chris Dunn be our starting point guard because you might say I'm done with them. I'm excited to see Otto Porter Jr. go off because he's on my fantasy team.
OPJ.
And didn't he shoot like 60% after joining the Bulls last year?
He's a good player. I was excited with that signing. No one else was.
I wasn't, but
he's not great on defense, just like the rest of the team. But
right. I think that there's definitely a path to one of the last seeds here, and I could see that happening. Jim Boylan's kind of a wild card. I just never know what he's going to do.
If the Bulls somehow, in some way, land at the 6th seed, they could beat whoever ends up being the 3 seed.
I knew he'd say something like that. I
mean, like the Celtics.
He picked the Magic to win to beat the eventual champion Raptors last year.
They did win a game. They looked promising.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you there. Seth, do you have any optimism for our team?
I have zero optimism for your team.
Great.
Which could be just because of my tradition of hating on Chicago sports teams. However, I would not pick you guys to make the playoffs. I don't think your players are very good. I think Otto Porter's okay. And
I don't think your players are really good either, besides Karl Anthony Towns. And Robert Covington, I guess.
He's talking about Minnesota. But really, Boston's my team.
That's not even his... Do you forget what team he was a fan of?
No, here's the thing. He cheers for Boston in basketball. He cheers for Minnesota in football. He cheers for Syracuse in college sports. What the hell am I supposed to know?
It's not that hard to keep straight, I feel like.
They all have an explanation. I do like the Timberwolves much more than the Bulls. I like all Minnesota teams. I just happen to cheer for the Celtics because that's what my dad did. Because there was no Minnesota basketball team when my dad was watching basketball because he's old.
Shout out to Joel and his new iPad Pro
with the detachable keyboard. I just don't think you have that much talent. I'm not in on Markkanen as much yet. I mean, maybe I'll be proven wrong. I just feel like every time there's like a tall European player, everyone thinks that he's Dirk.
Right.
And yeah, I guess I'm waiting to see it before I believe it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think I could easily see them missing the playoffs or making it, but I think we have a chance to sneak into the last seeds in the junior varsity conference, you might say. I would like to discuss my next team now.
Junior varsity conference.
I'm okay with that.
Which has something to do with the Bulls sliding into the playoffs. The Indiana Pacers. Get them out of there. They're not making the playoffs this year. Write that home.
They're not making the playoffs.
Write a letter
in the East.
to your grandmother right now.
They're worse than the Bulls?
Write a letter to your grandmother right now and tell her they're not making the playoffs.
You're fucking out of your mind. You didn't go eat some chili or something.
You want to make a bet?
Yeah.
Pacers have better record than the Bulls?
Sure.
I want to be on that bet too.
Oh, after you lambasted me? All right, well, we all held hands for longer than you might have hoped.
All right, so $10 again.
Yep.
Great.
So here's my qualm. Okay.
He's right to your left. Oh, that's your qualm.
Nice one. Victor Oladipo.
I've heard of him.
What if he isn't back for a while?
Okay.
And what if he doesn't look the same? Do we have anything to
Did
prove?
he undergo plastic surgery?
What if he grows a mustache? What are we gonna do
then?
then?
Fucked.
Well, as we've seen in other sports, if you grow a mustache, you immediately become better.
Like Stephon Diggs? Oh.
Yeah, Gardner.
So I just feel like we have no proof that this isn't going to be Gordon Hayward again. It was another very serious injury, another very rare injury, and I haven't heard anything about his progress or seen any videos that would make me think that he's making good progress. I mean,
have you looked for any?
Yeah, I don't think he has.
I googled "is Vic woke" and nothing came up. That was a joke just for Seth. You're welcome. I just feel like he's not going to be himself this year, and he's their only star player. What they did was they got Malcolm Brogdon in free agency, which he's fine. He's not able to carry a team by himself. He put up 50, 40, 90 stats because he was playing with Giannis and got wide open shots and good shots. I went to a Bucks game and watched him try to take all of our players on one-on-one, and he didn't score once, and our defense is terrible.
Question for you.
I wanted Kyle to say
You're
something.
being too results-oriented.
When I said that, and he didn't say anything.
Why did they make the playoffs last year? And why is their team drastically worse this year?
Because Vic got them a little cushion before he went out. So I'm assuming he's not going to be the same Vic for the entire year this year. They lost Boyan, who was their second scorer and who really stepped up after Vic left. Right, he was basically their big scorer, 20-point scorer after Vic left. They replaced him with T.J. Warren, which he's fine. I mean, he played for the Suns, and we have no proof that he can be good on a good team. He's probably just one of those bad stats. Wait, no. Good stats, bad teams guys, right? I don't know if, I just don't have any
But in the
confidence
East, do
that
you really need any more than that?
I just don't have any confidence that he's going to play well in games that matter, I guess. And who else did they add? They had Jeremy Lamb, fine. He put up decent numbers, but he was the second best player in Charlotte, which is
Behind
sad to
Kemba.
say. So, I don't know. I just have a few qualms. They're playing Miles and DeMontis together. I don't think that really works. I think they're going to end up trading one of them. I just have a few concerns. I mean, obviously I'm not going to be surprised if they make the playoffs. They made the playoffs last year without Victor, right? So, I just wanted to, put something
What's
out
your
there.
bold prediction?
Yeah, I just wanted to put something out there. And put money behind it for some reason.
I can't believe you just bet that they finished with a worse record than the Bulls.
It all happened in the heat of the moment. Seth, he put his warm hand in mine, and we shook, and I couldn't say no. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I just think their team's not
Honest
that
reasons.
much different than last year. I like Bogdanovich, of course, but they've got some pieces to fill in that gap, and they'll have Oladipo, we assume, back at some point.
I think
Is
it's
he
like,
planning
what,
on
month
starting
and a
the-
half
Yeah. So
after the season.
even if
starts?
he
2
doesn't
months?
have to be himself that he was a few years ago for them to make the playoffs, I don't think. Like I feel like it's a reasonable argument to say like Oladipo's not going to be himself, so they're probably not going to go past the first round. But considering how atrocious the East is, I feel like any team, like even if he didn't play the whole season, I bet they would make the playoffs because they did last year and they were like a 4 seed.
What we didn't mention
Three seed.
is Darren Collison joined the Jehovah's Witness
Right.
after having the displeasure of playing on the Pacers last year. So that doesn't mean something. I don't
That's
know
why.
what is. Yeah.
I think they have a good coach and they just like seem to have good team chemistry and they make it happen. And Sabonis could very well get better. I think Turner is a great defensive player. I don't know. I think they'll be fine. I bet they'll be closer to like a 4 seed than they will be to a 9 seed.
That might be true, but you know what? I wanted to just stick my neck out for once in my goddamn life.
For once?
In my goddamn
Like when
life.
you did for the Knickerbockers?
And we're watching the Jets
And
right
the
now.
Redskins.
One of my greatest picks to
The
date
Jets.
to make the playoffs, and they are only losing 24-0 at half. I think so.
You got it.
Victor Oladipo scrimmaged half court just the other day and is just about cleared for 5-on-5 work. So
Let me ask you this though:
we can
did
see
he have a
him.
mustache?
No,
Well,
no
I
stash.
take it back then. All right. Well, you have anything more to say on that before you come up with another team, Kyle?
It's Seth's turn for another team.
Well, I thought we maybe might switch it up, or you're just not
like
ready.
A snake draft.
He's not ready. So
No, I can.
Okay.
I can go. You're wrong about the Pacers, but that's all right.
Right.
Okay. Let's go with
We should probably speed this up, by the way. So let's start really giving these quick hits about these teams.
Atlanta Hawks.
All right, next.
Terrible defense.
Awful.
But it's going to be my favorite league pass team to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Trae Young. Love what he's doing.
I like how we say league pass team when none of us pay for league pass.
No, I play for Underground Streams. Baby, I love Johnny Collins. They're just going to be an exciting team to watch. So, defensively, I don't even think that they could stop a fly if a fly could push a basketball. That's it. I don't know what more you want. You told me I had to speed
Quick
up.
hits. Atlanta, I think they'll be good. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how Trae progresses in his second season, and if it's like truly the young core that they want to build around, or if they'll like kind of morph over the next few years and use some of their assets, trade some players. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think what really makes a good league pass team is really fun offense and not that good defense. So there'll be in a lot of high-scoring games. So I'm looking forward to seeing them as well.
I think they squeak in the 8th seed.
I don't think they do. But we can't make another bet.
Hawks better record than the Bulls.
The problem is that Trae Young is like a paper in the wind.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think they're gonna have good defense at all. I don't even think they're gonna be that great win-wise. But I don't even think you have to be a 500 team in the East to make the 8th seed.
Right, and the Indiana Pacers won't be a 500 team. So, Seth, next team.
The San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
The Hot Spurs.
I'm gonna go to sleep.
Okay. The podcast will get better then. So, they get DeJounte
nice.
Murray back.
The Mustard?
Solid point guard.
Do they call him the mustard?
No, they should.
Why?
Dijon Mustard?
Oh.
DeJounte. So, DeJounte and Derek White and DeMar kind of in the backcourt, per se. What is backcourt, frontcourt, though? I mean, we don't have any positions, really. I think DeMar and Aldridge had solid years last year, as much as I hate to say about DeMar. Anything good. But I've always loved LaMarcus. I do hate that they lost the hot shooter from 3, Davis Bertans. But I think the Spurs, it'll be like it's one of those years, every year we kind of say maybe this is the year that they break their playoff streak. Last year we were saying it, potentially the year before. This year, for sure, lots of people are saying it with the West being so tough this year. And I think they're one of those last 4 teams vying for 2 spots in the West.
Mm-hmm.
But I like them to make it, I think. And I think they might be just a touch more watchable this year.
I would never watch them on principle.
You don't have principles, though. You're devoid of principles.
I'm a weak man. I will pick them to make the playoffs until Greg Popovich proves me wrong. I just think that they'll get it done, and I think that DeJounte coming back is huge for them. I think, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Every year we say they're not, every year for the last few years we said this is the year. I don't know if it is. I mean, this is probably the most stacked West we've had in a while, but I'm still going to put my faith and Pop in that system.
I don't see it. I don't even know really, what's their starting 5? I know you're going to start LaMarcus for sure. You're going to start DeRozan for sure. They starting Rudy Gay for sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
so.
And then...
I don't know who their center is going to be, or if they're just going to play LaMarcus at center.
And I don't think he likes playing center.
Yeah.
He'd rather play forward, and that means that at center they're going to be playing an undersized Trey Lyles, or they're going to be playing Jacob Pirtle the Turtle.
I like Trey. Why do I like Trey?
Pirtle.
I like Trey too, but not at center.
I can see Pirtle starting.
Yeah, I think Pirtle will be a
He's kind of
spot
a
starter.
He's the only
style
true
player.
center listed on the roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a spot starter. It's going to be tough for them, obviously, to make the playoffs, but I just wanted to be proven wrong before I say that they'll miss it. I'm going to go with my next team here. I want to talk about the Trailblazers.
Okay.
It's my second hot take of the podcast. Maybe I don't know how hot it is. I think they're going to miss the playoffs.
What?
Well, the thing is, look at their forward rotation.
Okay.
They're First of all, I don't know if this is true, but in 2K, their starting power forward is Mario Hezonja. And if that's the case, I'm out, okay? It probably won't be the case, but they really have some undersized wings there. They're probably going to start Rodney Hood or Kent Bazemore. And those guys aren't as big as...
Where? At power forward position?
Oh, at the small forward, maybe.
Oh, small forward. Power forward, they're going to start Zach Collins.
I don't see Zach Collins and Hassan Whiteside working together at all. And I do not like Hassan at all. I think he's just puts up... He's another good stats, bad team guy who doesn't contribute to winning at all. You see video clip after video clip of him just chasing a block and leaving the offensive glass wide open for an easy layup. I just think he's not a winning player. I think that he's not going to be able to make the little passes when Dame or CJ are trapped that Nurkic got so good at and that Enes even got pretty good at by playoff time. And they're
really feel
they don't have a power forward. Like, who's their power forward besides Zach? But he's gonna have to play a lot of Scala's ass, and Zach is gonna have to play a lot of center. And I just don't see how that forward rotation is gonna make the playoffs in the East or in the West. In the East, it would for sure. I don't know. I mean, if you got to knock someone out, obviously you're gonna, if you're looking to put new people into the playoffs this year in the West, easy one to take out is the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? You pluck them out of there for the Lakers. Yeah. But then if you want someone else to make the playoffs, you got to knock someone else out. And like I said, I'm not going to do the Spurs, and I think the Trailblazers have the most questions.
So
we'll get there.
The
thing that you were saying basically about the Warriors, they lost so much production, but you have so much faith in Steph Curry. Yeah, he's a top 3 player, but I also think that the Blazers have probably top 5, top 4 backcourt in the NBA. And I think a lot of stuff
goes to... I think it's probably the second best one behind the Rockets, right?
I mean, last year I was saying it was the best. So
yeah.
I also said Dave Lillard was better than Steph Curry. And I stand by that to the day I die. But yeah, so I don't think it's kind of contradictory to say that you really think that they're going to miss the playoffs when really the only one that went down was Nurkic. And we saw that he was replaceable in some instance by... Enes, and yeah, I don't think Whiteside is as good of players, but he might average 14 rebounds a night, and even if he's averaging only like 8-9 points and playing 28 minutes only, I like their ability to run small ball and put Zach Collins at the 5 and put either like Hezonja or Scal at the 4 and just basically run the entire system through McCollum and Dame.
I just like I would rather have Steph and Draymond than CJ and Dame any day, and I think that the infrastructure in Golden State is better, so that's why I picked them over the Trailblazers. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Trailblazers made the playoffs, but I had to take someone out, and I saw the most weaknesses with this team, especially in the front court, so that's what I went with.
How dare you?
I'm just nervous about fucking Mario Hezonja getting major minutes for a team that thinks they're going to make the playoffs. All right, They're
going to make the playoffs. You heard it here first, folks.
That's not really a hot take, though.
To you it is. Or is your take hot to me? Who's to say?
I don't know. It's getting hot in here, though. I'll tell you that much. All right, Kyle, are you up now?
Seth
just went.
Shit.
Do you have a team that you want to talk about?
Did I just go?
No, he didn't go.
Yeah, Seth, you've done 3, right?
Who did I say?
You did the Spurs last, and then I did the Trailblazers.
Spurs. Yeah. So he's done 2.
Yeah.
How many have you done? You've
2.
done 2 as well.
And you've done 3?
Either one of you go. I don't care. Jesus Christ.
I want to talk about Toronto. Is that on the list already for you?
It is not.
That's fine if it is.
So
just capped us at 3 teams.
I think Toronto's one of the biggest range of outcome teams because I think they could trade away their entire team halfway through the season and tank, or they could get the 3 seed in the East, and it's more of a question if they do those trades, because I think they'll kind of be a boring team without Kawhi, other than Siakam's spin moves, who's on my fantasy basketball team now, so I should probably just pick them to make the finals. But if they trade Kyle Lowry, I think that could make one of the biggest impacts on a potential other playoff team and put a team over the hump. And so I think that's the main reason that the Raptors are interesting this year is what happens to Kyle Lowry, in addition to seeing if Pascal can vault himself into one of the truly elite players in the NBA in his 3rd season.
Yes.
So. Yeah, they're another team with a long range of outcomes just because they have a lot of trades they could easily make if things go awry.
Plus, OG's coming back.
Yeah, but I think on talent alone, they're one of the top 4 seeds in the East. Do you agree with that, Kyle?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I like Toronto. I stand with Drake. So.
Oh my God, I hate Drake.
I think we'd see the true breakout. I think last year we saw hints of what Siakam could be, but I think there's just another threshold that he can break through, and we see this year, and we kind of see him. I don't want to take the leap that we saw Giannis took, but I feel like he has those abilities and those same skills.
Wow. I think he's going to be better for sure. I don't know if I see a Giannis-type leap, but I think this will be interesting to see if he can carry a team and be their best player. Kyle, why don't you go ahead with your third team?
Certainly. I think I'm going to go with the Nolans Pelicans. I don't know if that was on your list or not, but it doesn't matter. Another exciting team. We found out today that Zion is going to be out for what?
6 to 8 weeks. Rest in peace to the homie.
So that'll be interesting. But they obviously made so many moves in the offseason and have basically a brand new roster. I'm excited to see Drew Holiday really be the number 1 alpha on the team without Anthony Davis, because we saw what he could do last year when Davis wasn't playing. I think he's a top 3 two-way guard in the NBA. So just excited to see that, and I think from what I've seen watching these preseason games, Alonzo looks a lot more comfortable. His shot actually looks like a real basketball shot now. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting to see how he does that, and I think we see a decent amount of small ball from them too while Zion's out, even when he comes back, and having like Brandon Ingram play the 4, which would be interesting. They just have a bunch of
good players. I mean,
yeah, they do have good young players.
They have 8 players that I really like, and they're very deep, I think. And it's a shame that Zion will be out, and I think that's going to be one of the main problems. I think that's really the only thing that can derail him from being like a first-team All-NBA guy, especially from what I saw in the preseason. He just looked bigger than every other. Yeah.
Do you mean this season or in his career?
I mean, both. I mean, I think he's already shown that he can have the Anthony Davis type nagging injuries, and he's just a big guy, and that happens. So
I think he's fat. Actually, I think that's contributing to it. He's just fat,
big boy. But I'm excited to see what he can do when he comes back this season, and even with him out, I think the other pieces of this team are exciting too. So this is gonna be another League Pass team for me. If I'm
gonna love watching these guys.
The privilege of having League Pass.
We'll have knockoff League Pass. I got you guys.
Can I just get 10 seconds on my last 2 teams, and then you guys can have 10 seconds on your last 2 teams?
Sure.
Yeah, I just want only 10 seconds on your last 2 teams, so we'll take 20 seconds on those 2 teams.
Okay. Seth,
how many seconds for your last? Let's waste some more time.
Do either of you guys have any other teams you want to talk about, or should I just go?
I want to talk about your 2.
I want to talk about one more.
Okay, cool. I'll go. You go. I'll go.
Okay.
I love it.
Utah Jazz. Just one thing I want to point out. Everyone's saying that they may be the best team in not everyone. Let me preface. A lot of people are saying they could be the best team in the West, that they could come out of the West, and I just think they don't have a superstar player to get it done in the playoffs, unless Donnie becomes that man.
All right, so my team is the Sacramento Kings.
Love it.
Another team, I feel like similar to the Pelicans, they just have a bunch of young, good players. Buddy Hield just signed a contract, 4 years, $94 million. I love that for the Kings and for Buddy. Good for him. And they got Bogdanovich just leading a scoring surge off the bench, I feel like.
Yeah, Bogdan might win 6th Man of the Year this year.
Yeah, I could see that. I like all their players. Every player on their team I really like.
Yeah, I think we really see... I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
You seemed like you were coming down to your last points. Really see Bagley in a hopefully full season and in a full-time starter role now that what's-his-ass is out of there.
Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah, WCS. Fuck him. Who gives a shit?
Such a strong take.
But no, I love Bagley. He's going to be a monster for them. They're going to be a fun, up-tempo team. And just like Seth said, Bogdan coming off the bench in just preseason when he was playing coming off the bench with that second unit, he averaged, I think, 14-5-4 with the second unit. So I don't know what his odds are for Sixth Man of the Year, but I'm gonna look him up, and this might be the actual time that I finally bet something.
That was more than 20 seconds.
Yeah,
so,
I love it.
Real quickly, I want to hit the Houston Rockets. I think with Harden and Westbrook, they have a chance to be the number 1 seed in the West, but I think there's no chance they make the finals because Harden and Westbrook will choke in the playoffs like they always do.
That's fair.
Yep.
Sounds kind of counterintuitive, but I see your point for sure.
I mean, they're going to be a great regular season team.
I think they will.
But I think their playoff ceiling is capped by how players are able to defend Harden and Westbrook in the playoffs when they have so much time to prepare for them and they have 7 games of them.
And just their lack of execution. Like, both of those players have a history of not coming through in the playoffs. So
Agreed. All right, let's list our 8 predicted playoff seeds in each conference. Let's start with the West. I'm going to start off here because I think we can all agree that there are 5 locks, and I think me and Seth think there are 6 if we include the Warriors. Mm-hmm. So the locks I have, and these are in order: Nuggets with the 1 seed, Clippers with the 2 seed, Houston with the 3 seed, Lakers with the 4 seed, Jazz with the 5th seed, and then I have the Warriors as the 6th seed in that, also being a lock for me. So I'm predicting a portion our bet, you might say. At the 7th seed, I've slid in the Spurs. Because, like I said, I just trust Greg himself. And then, like I said, I took the Trailblazers out so I could add in another team besides the Lakers, and that team is the Pelicans.
Interesting.
Despite arguing with Kyle about that earlier, I've been swayed over to your side. Although I did this before I knew Zion was out for so long.
Yeah.
So that
Doesn't
might have
matter.
impacted. It might not matter.
I don't think it matters.
What do you guys think?
I agree with a lot, obviously, except for Golden State. I think there are 6 locks to make the playoffs. The first 6, or the top 6 seeds. I have them at Houston, 1, Nuggets, Lakers, Clippers,
wow,
Portland, Utah, and then 6 or 7 and 8. Things get iffy because I could see the Spurs, Pelicans, Thunder, and obviously the Warriors.
Well, you gotta
vying for those.
You
So
gotta
I'm
pick
gonna
it.
say,
wow.
I'm gonna say 7. The Pelicans. 8 the Warriors. Gonna give you a hot take.
Okay.
So we have the same teams. You just have the Trailblazers instead of the Spurs?
Yes.
Cool. Seth?
Same teams, different order.
I have the same top 6, different order. I think the Clippers will probably get the 1 seed, would be my prediction. I mean, any of those top 6 could honestly get the 1 seed, but I'm going to take the Clippers just mainly because of their depth, even with like Paul George not starting the season. I think I'll take Houston, then the Nuggets, then the Lakers, as much as I hate them. I like Jazz at 5, like you have, Sam. Actually, I'll take Warriors at 5, Jazz at 6. And then I have Portland in the 7th seed. And like I already said, I think the Spurs will make the playoffs, so I have them in the 8th seed. But I would take the Kings as the 9, right there with the Pelicans. So if the Spurs miss the playoffs, I think it'll be the Kings,
Wow, I
not
forgot
the
the
Pelicans,
Kings.
who
I didn't put the Kings in there.
supersede them.
The reason I didn't pick, just real quick, the reason I didn't pick the Clippers or the Lakers for the 1 seed was just because I think there might be a lot of low management on both those teams, and LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kawhi, and Paul George might altogether take a lot of games off just to preserve themselves for the playoffs. I think one of those two is going to come out of the West in the playoffs, but I don't necessarily think either will get the 1 seed. That's
Yeah.
my thought there.
Another team we haven't mentioned is Dallas. Could make the playoffs.
I was going to
for
say,
sure.
no love for Dallas here. They have 2, maybe, at least top 15 players, I would say.
But Kristaps is a rapist, so I can't cheer for them.
Yeah, that's tough. I also know.
Anyways,
He's huge now, though.
No
That man
love-
put on
yeah,
at least 15
he
pounds of
did.
muscle.
No love for Minnesota here, huh?
No.
Cool.
Talk to me when Wiggins is off the team.
I think
He's
you
a
could-
top 100 player.
I think
He's
you could
not.
make a case for the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Dallas Mavericks, or the Sacramento Kings, which
To
none
make
of
a
us put
case
us
for
in,
literally any team
except for the Suns
in the West
Or the-
besides the Suns.
or the Grizzlies. I wouldn't make a case for them either.
It could be done.
You could,
But I'm
make
not
a
going
case.
to.
Yeah.
Really?
But I do love Brandon Clark.
There it is.
He's my dark horse for Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Why doesn't someone give me your East?
You want my yeast?
Please.
You making bread?
Yeah, the Eastie Boys.
Okay. Number 1, I got the Sixers. 2, I got Milwaukee. 3, I'm going to go with the Raptors. 4, I'm going to go with the Celtics. Don't like it, but I'm going to do it. 5, I'm going to go with the Pacers. 6, I'm going to go with the Nets. 7, I'm going to go with the Heat. And 8, I'm going to go with the Bulls.
Wow.
We had very similar ones, and I'm shocked you didn't put one team in that I have. I know
what team it is.
Our first two are the same. I have the 76ers 1, the Bucks 2. I have the Celtics at 3, the Raptors at 4, Miami at 5, Brooklyn at 6, Orlando at 7, which even though Kyle picked them to beat the Raptors last year, will not pick them to even make the playoffs this year. And 8, I have the Bulls. So I took out, like I said, the Pacers so I could slide in both the Bulls and Miami, who both missed the playoffs last year.
Did I put Miami in mine?
Yes.
Oh. They're a toss-up team for me. Like, I could see Orlando making it over Miami.
I think, obviously the 76ers and Bucks we can entrench in those first 2 seeds. I think we might say the Celtics and the Raptors are almost guaranteed to make the playoffs unless the Raptors start off
3 or 4
weak.
seed.
Yeah. After that, I guess Brooklyn probably. But after that, there's not really a lock.
Yeah, so I think Milwaukee and Philly are like the clear-cut top 2 teams. I agree with you guys. Philly will probably have the edge over them now with Al being able to guard Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
I like Celtics at 3, of course, and I'm on board with what was that? Yeah, the Raptors at 4. Even if they do trade Kyle, honestly, they might. It'll be late enough in the season where they might get that and still the 4th seed.
If they trade Kyle, it's because Siakam has just gone god mode.
Or because they're doing poorly, which I don't think will happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's hard to do poorly if you're competent in the East.
I certainly can't cheer for Brooklyn, so I'm going to go with what Kyle said, I believe, which is Indiana at 5, and then Miami at 6. I think Brooklyn will be at 7. And then with the 8 seed, when you look at the East, it's definitely not Charlotte, Atlanta, Cleveland, or New York. Those teams are all ass.
Agreed.
I think the Bulls are ass as well. Not in that tier, but I don't think they're good enough. So then we have Orlando, Detroit, Washington's ass, or that's it.
Yeah, no love for Detroit, huh?
I'll pick Detroit.
Okay.
I'll pick Detroit at the 8th seed.
I mean, that's fine. They're competent.
Can I say that it's, 2 days before I guess the regular season starts tomorrow, but it's like 2 days before all the teams play. And Charlotte still does not have their starting 5. They're not committed to a starting 5 yet.
I think they're going to be the worst team in the league and the worst team we've had in a while.
What did we make a bet on Terry Rozier? We had a long conversation about him last year at some point.
We
I don't know if
probably
it was on the pod or not. If it was a bet, I would have had it written down. But
will Charlotte win 10 games?
Yes. They're in the East. If it wasn't the East,
yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get to play the
I don't think they'll get to 20, though.
No, definitely.
I think their over-under is over 20, though, so pound that under. Let's real quick hit the MVP. I think there's 4 real candidates, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
That's the most in sync you guys have ever been. So I have down here Giannis, Steph, AD, and Nikola Jokic as the 4 real candidates. Do you guys disagree with me here?
No.
No.
I had to think about it for a second. I thought you were saying Nikola Mirotic, and I was like, he doesn't play here anymore.
I'll take Darren Carlson to be the MVP of the Jehovah's Witness.
I heard he's killing it.
I'm happy for him. You know what? What do you guys think? Who would you take here? I don't know the odds, so I don't know what's a good bet or not, but who you think is going to win, I guess.
I'm taking Giannis to repeat.
I don't think he should have won last year, so I'm not taking him this year. But then again, now that I think about it just real in the spur of the moment, their team all around didn't get any better. So Giannis, I think, might even have to take on more of a role than he did last year by losing Brogdon, and I don't think Middleton makes any leap. How many years has he been in the league? He doesn't move the needle for me. I just think Giannis might actually have to take on a little more responsibilities if he can. If he is hitting threes, then I could see him winning it again, but I think it's AD or Steph. If AD could stay healthy and actually play like 70 games, 75 games. Who knows if it can happen? I mean, he did that, 2 years ago? So
my qualm with Steph is they won't have a high enough seed for the voters to want to vote him MVP, which we've only really seen like anything that's not a top 2 seed win when Russell did recently, and that's because everyone got a big hard on for a triple-double, which he averaged 2 more years in a row and no one cared about. So I'm going to take Jokic because I predicted the Nuggets to be their first seed in the West. If they're the first seed in the West and he's putting up numbers close to his playoff averages, which were like 30, 12, and 5, he's definitely going to be in the conversation. So, and I think he's probably a long shot odds.
Yeah. My dark horse, so I'm going to pick Giannis. My dark horse would be Damian Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they're not going to make the playoffs, so that's a terrible pick.
That'll be tough if they don't make the playoffs. But maybe this is the year where he looks around and sees that, hey, Nurk is out. We don't have any sort of front court. I'm just going to go all out and prove, like Kyle predicts, that he's better than Steph. So that would have to be, like you said, I think it would have to be one of those rare cases where he plays so well they vaunt into like the 4th seed and they give him the MVP because his stats are ridiculous. But that's my dark horse.
Would you believe that Jokic is plus 1,300 MVP? Steph is plus 500, Giannis plus 280.
All right, you guys want to go over thank you. Well, we're not going to put a bet in, so it doesn't matter. Do you guys want to go over the finals real quick to close this out? Or what?
Sure.
Are we fucking around here? So I'll take the Lakers versus the 76ers. My reasoning being that the Lakers have LeBron, so he's good. And they also now have a real star to pair alongside him, and that's pretty scary to me. So I don't think they'll get the 1 seed during the season, but I think they're going to come out of the West. And I think that the 76ers just have a higher ceiling defensively than the Bucks do. I don't love the Bucks losing Malcolm Brogdon. I think it was a big piece for them, and especially since Eric Bledsoe is basically their second best guard, or he was last year, and now he's really their best guard, and he faltered in the playoffs a couple years in a row. So I'm going to take the 76ers.
I can see
to
that
win the finals.
You're taking 76ers to win it all.
No, to win the finals, I'll take Bronny in the brow.
Wow. I don't like that at all. Emotionally or physically.
I love it.
I would obviously never pick the Lakers to win anything. Even a game of ping pong. But
with all 5 players?
I'm gonna take the Clippers, the other Los Angeles team, to make it into the finals. And I think you're right, it'll be the 76ers. Although part of me wants to say the Bucks and just think that this will be the year that Giannis will really...
Their team didn't get better.
Really.
And they couldn't make it last year. And the Sixers
my
did
man
get a
Al,
lot better.
My man Al. No one guards Giannis better than Al. So I got to take the Sixers for that reason. But I could see them kind of flustering down the stretch in a few games. If Ben Simmons isn't able to quite be in the right spot at the right time. So I'm going to take the Clippers to win, and I think Kawhi will go down in history as the first man to be the best player on 3 different championship teams.
That's wild, but I don't think that they win it back to Kawhi wins it back to back. I think just watching LeBron and watching AD, obviously yes, it's the preseason, but LeBron, this is the longest I think offseason he's had in 10, 12 years ever maybe. And he just looks fully revitalized. And, as long as they do the load management right with him and AD, I think like what we said, they're a lock to make the playoffs. I know it's the West, but LeBron's just that good. Anthony Davis is just that good. And even with, even if there wasn't anyone else on the team, I would still like them to make the playoffs. But they have shooters around them. They have other players that can contribute well. Avery Bradley has kind of looked like the old Avery Bradley in preseason so far, or this year. So if he can contribute with the 3-and-D guy that he showed that he could be in the past, I like them to make the finals as well. And I think it is them and the Sixers.
This is a man who knows what he's talking about.
Right. You always say that too. And I think LeBron wins it again. Yeah.
I really hope that happens. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, counterpoint, and then we'll finish up.
Though the
Last
Sixers are a
playoffs,
matchup nightmare for them.
last playoffs, Kawhi was the best player in the playoffs, despite having a nagging injury throughout most of it.
So they say.
And last regular season, Paul George played way better than LeBron did. Now LeBron was injured. I still think LeBron is better than Paul George, and I've been a long time LeBron apologist and Paul George hater, so I feel kind of dirty saying this. But so I think the difference between those two star players isn't as big as it might seem. Like the two pairs of star players on each team, and I think the Clippers are much deeper and better defensively with Beverly and Harrell and just some of those guys that they have still left over from last season. Yeah, so obviously this is colored by my bias against the Lakers, but
to counter your counterpoint, Kawhi didn't have to go through LeBron or Anthony Davis last year because neither of them were in the playoffs. And LeBron's better than Kawhi, and Anthony Davis is, I think, 2 tiers above Paul George.
2 tiers?
And Paul George also got, well, it's not that, I mean, I would say Anthony Davis is in like the top 4 and Paul George is like 9th or something.
How is that?
I have small
So
tiers.
what are the 2 tiers in between them?
No, let's say Paul George is the 3rd tier, and let's say Anthony Davis is the 1st tier. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Between them is one player, and one player only. Marc Gasol.
I think, Paul George was, 3rd in MVP voting last year? Before he hurt his shoulder?
Yeah.
So...
But he also, I think that's going to be his best season ever, and I think he's not going to play nearly as well this season because he got surgery on both his shoulders, which probably is tough.
Nah. I disagree.
You heard it here first. Paul George out of the league this season.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
He's going to be playing China.
The other thing is, not that we can ever predict injuries, but I wouldn't say that Davis or LeBron at this point in his career are a lock to
for sure
have the whole season healthy. So
you can say the same thing about Paul George.
As long as
the same thing about Kawhi.
As long as they're healthy come playoff time, that's all that matters. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. Anything else?
No, I'm gonna go watch Star Wars. I'm starting the trilogy of trilogies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in what's the word? In preparation for
the new
one coming out in December.
I'm gonna give my dog some attention for once in her goddamn life. Seth?
I'm gonna go probably do some studying for grad school. So
loser. All right. What has this been or whatever?
I don't know.
What happened?
We got it almost exactly 1 hour, so that's pretty good.
On the 3rd day, that motherfucker rose again, bitch.
Bird Box.